What's up, Euro Football Daily? With Frank Lampard getting his feet under the table at Everton following an impressive win in the FA Cup and a disappointing loss in the Premier League, let's take a look at 3 ways he can turn things around at Goodison Park. Modernised playing style. One of the main reasons why Everton have struggled to make any meaningful progress despite spending so much money on transfers since Farhad Moshiri's takeover in 2016 is the fact they have not had a consistent playing style. 5 different managerial hires were made before Lampard's appointment in January, and each one was given players to suit their tactical vision. After Steve Walsh was hired as Director of Football in 2016, Ronald Koeman was allowed to spend £220 million across 3 windows before being sacked less than 18 months into the job, while Sam Allardyce was given over £40 million to spend on Theo Walcott and Cenk Tosun during a tenure that lasted just 26 games. Marco Silva then spent almost £200 million as he attempted to reshape the side with Walsh's successor Marcel Brands. The result is a bloated squad full of players that have underachieved at Goodison Park due to the constant managerial changes of recent years. From the Route 1 football of Allardyce to the high press of Silva and the pragmatism of Carlo Ancelotti, who in fairness was making progress with the side before returning to Real Madrid, this squad has overgone several tactical makeovers, and the transition between the counter-attacking Rafa Benitez and the front foot approach of Frank Lampard represents another one. And there's no doubt this team will get a shake-up. At the time of writing, they rank 18th in the Premier League for possession, 12th for expected goals per game, 13th for goals scored, 16th for passes into the final third, and 15th for passes per defensive action, the metric used to measure how often a side is pressing in the opposition half. These numbers may be good enough to stay in the Premier League, but are pretty concerning for a club with ambitions of playing in Europe. And as we've seen in his short managerial career, Lampard has a very different view to Benitez on how to win games. In his first press conference, the former midfielder spoke of his desire for the Toffees to control games with possession and be very exciting to watch at the top end of the pitch, as well as be aggressive when without the ball. And a focus on possession and pressing has been evident in Lampard's managerial career so far. His Derby County side ranked 5th in the Championship for possession and 2nd for passes per defensive action, while in his first season at Chelsea, the Blues ranked 3rd in the Prem for possession and 5th for PPDA. And these tactics brought results, with the Rams reaching the playoff final in 2018-19 and the Blues qualifying for the Champions League while integrating a number of academy graduates the following campaign. That season, Lampard's side were also the 2nd best side in the Prem for both shots taken and shots conceded, generating less than 5 fewer expected goals than Liverpool, who won the league with 99 points. And there's hope that this squad should be able to take on such instruction. Under Marco Silva in 18-19, they actually pressed more aggressively than Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, with Andre Gomes, Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin all very active in closing down opposition players. Add in Allen and Abdoulaye Doucouré, the 2 leading pressers in the squad this term, and Lampard already has a strong unit of combative front foot players to work with, not to mention new arrivals Dele Alli and Donny van de Beek, who have both played in highly effective pressing systems before. Transitioning this side to a new style of play will take time, and Lampard has already shown signs that he will be patient, setting them up in a 3-4-3 rather than his preferred 4-3-3 for their recent FA Cup win over Brentford, in which they dominated the ball, pressed well, and ran out 4-1 winners. If those kind of performances become a more regular occurrence, then Everton fans will begin to dream again. Improve man management. But while Lampard's tactical approach promises a more modern, attacking and exciting Everton in 2022, his new post will also provide him with an opportunity to improve as a manager. And one thing he seemingly struggled with towards the end of his tenure at Chelsea was man management. While his first campaign at Stamford Bridge was an undoubted success, he faced problems following the club's big summer of spending in 2020. In that first season, Lampard benefited from having a core of young players who are more than willing to take on his ideas. With an average age of 24.1, he possessed the 4th youngest squad in the league, while former teammates Cesar Azpilicueta and Willian also ranked among the side's top performers. But although they qualified for the Champions League, Chelsea's defence, which conceded 54 goals, was a concern, and despite the club signing Edouard Mendy, Thiago Silva and Ben Chilwell, they conceded 1.2 goals per game under him the following campaign, an improvement on the 1.4 they let in the previous season, but clearly not considered a big enough improvement for him to stay in the job. Left with 5 centre-backs and 3 left-backs after the club failed to shift players, Lampard struggled to manage a bigger squad, falling out with Marcos Alonso, freezing out Fikayo Tomori, and keeping Antonio Rudiger glued to the bench. By the time he was sacked, there was talk of him having effectively lost the dressing room, while it was clear his tactics were not working during his final weeks in charge. It was telling that Thomas Tuchel, who had managed egos like Neymar and Mbappe in his previous job, was able to quickly build a strong relationship with the squad, make the defence almost completely impenetrable, and lead them to European glory. According to The Guardian, Lampard has spent his time away from the dugout working on how to become a better communicator in the dressing room. And this will be essential if he's to build a project at Goodison Park. Along with Watford, Everton have the biggest squad in the Premier League, and with an average age of 26.9, it isn't exactly young. But there is nevertheless potential. Jared Branthwaite, Nathan Patterson and Anthony Gordon, who Lampard has already singled out for praise, are all under 21. Richarlison, Calvert-Lewin and Ben Godfrey, meanwhile, are all under 25, while the likes of Alex Iwobi and Mason Holgate are examples of once highly rated youngsters in need of rejuvenation. Strike a chord with them and the more experienced heads like Alan and Doucouré, and Lampard will be confident he can maximise the potential of this group of players. But with so much competition in midfield and on the wings, not to mention the events that led to the previous manager losing his job, keeping the squad happy will be a key challenge for him. Revive Donny and Ali. This conveniently leads us on to what will be one of the most interesting aspects of Lampard's early months in charge of Everton. Unveiled on the same day as the new coach, Donny van de Beek and Dele Alli had hit a wall in their playing careers before being signed by the Merseyside outfit, with van de Beek making just 4 Premier League starts since joining Man United in 2020, and Ali scoring just once for Tottenham in that same period. But both have proved themselves more than capable of performing at the highest level in the past. Once a target for Real Madrid, Van de Beek was a key component of Erik ten Hag's first great Ajax side, hitting double figures for goals for 3 consecutive seasons in Amsterdam, with an ability to arrive late in the box to get on the end of chances, one of his noted strengths. In his final season in the Netherlands, he was taking 2.1 shots per 90, more than Richarlison is averaging this term, while he was also creating around 2 chances, which would rank him second only to Andros Townsend in the Toffees squad. Of course, Ali's main strengths also lie in the final third. At his 2016-17 peak, he was taking 2.8 shots and creating 1.5 chances per 90, ending that particular season with 18 goals and 7 assists in the Premier League, outscoring Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Eden Hazard. Unlike Van de Beek though, Ali wasn't operating in a midfield 3 or even really as a 10, instead playing as a second striker to Harry Kane, scoring most of his goals from latching onto balls in behind the defence. Considering this, it will be interesting to see how Lampard will use the pair. Everton's midfield seriously lacks goals, with Doucouré the only centre mid to register more than 1 this term. With the Frenchman not back until March, there is the possibility for both Van de Beek and Ali to be picked in the same team, depending on how Lampard decides to set up. Both are capable of doing defensive work, with Donny averaging 3 tackles and interceptions per 90 in his final season at Ajax, and Dele making around that this term. But striking the right balance in the middle of the park will be key if the former Chelsea boss doesn't want to run into the same problems he encountered at Stamford Bridge, where opponents often found it easy to carve out openings after breaking through the first line of the Blues' press. But get it right and Everton could become a much more formidable, unpredictable attacking force, with goal threats coming from centre forward, out wide and the midfield. So that was our take on how Lampard can fix Everton, but what are the other areas of the team that need improving? Let us know down below and we'll get discussing. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like and why not click on screen right now for another great EFD vid. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.